What's up, guys? Aaron Feely with White Sox Daily, back again with more White Sox news, some more White Sox updates, and spring training thus far. It's been fun to be a White Sox fan. I'm not sure how the regular season's going to play out, but as far as right now, if you're just going to live in the moment, you're not looking ahead, you're not trying to see what it means, what it entails, and you just want to try to enjoy these fleeting moments of happiness as a Sox fan before March and April come along to dash them all. I wouldn't blame you in the slightest. It's kind of sort of what I'm going to try to do. But, I run this channel, so I do have to occasionally look ahead and look towards the bigger picture of the Chicago White Sox here and there. But yeah, spring training's been really fun, and the biggest part of it to this point has been the explosion of the offense. A lot of the hitters fighting for jobs on this roster, fighting, scratching, clawing to try to earn a spot on the opening day roster for the Chicago White Sox team, especially knowing full well how many pitchers they're going to probably keep on the opening day roster just to have arms to throw at a problem. That problem being that they don't have any starting pitching or relief pitching that they really are super in love with. They did bring in a couple of guys during the offseason. Return a couple of starters, but it's just such a position of weakness that you just know that they are going to keep a couple extra pitchers around just in case someone's struggling even more than anticipated. You want to have more arms to just kind of be rotating through there. If you can't have high-end guys, you should at least have a lot of guys. Have fresh guys. Just anything at all you can do. But in the midst of the chaos of all of this, the bats have stayed unbelievably hot down in Arizona to this point. Lenyn Sosa had a really great day again today. Hayes drew himself a walk and was able to score. Sosa 2 for 4 on the day. The White Sox put up 12 runs. Had a bit of a shootout with Seattle. It kept going back and forth. Chicago ended up finally taking the lead back after Seattle climbed in front. 10-9 on them. They ended up going up 11-10 in the 7th inning, and then in the 9th inning they got one insurance run, and then were ultimately able to close the door at that point. But it was just a really fun ball game once again from this White Sox spring training squad. This was almost sort of the C team in a lot of ways for Chicago today. We didn't see any Murakami. We didn't see any Kyle Teal. No Colston Montgomery. None of those guys. But Caro played for a bit of a spell. Ended up getting a hit. Obviously, we already talked about Austin Hayes got in there. He ended up scoring a run. Lenyn Sosa played some. He played fairly well. Braden Montgomery got in toward the end of the game. He went 0 for 2, though, so not a great deal to speak about there. But yeah, it was just mostly a bunch of guys like Brooks Baldwin, Lamont Wade Jr., Curtis Mead got himself quite a bit of playing time. And, specifically Brooks Baldwin had himself a phenomenal day. 3 for 3, batted in a couple of runs, scored a couple of runs. Yeah, great day all around for Chicago White Sox offense. We hope to keep that rolling as the regular season comes around, and hopefully once jobs are already established, these guys continue to keep the hot bats. On the other end, though, the pitching situation, one of the guys they brought in over from Japan, Anthony Kay, hadn't pitched in a little bit for Major League Baseball, hadn't pitched since 2023, I believe. He spent the last 2 years in the Nippon League over there in Japan, kind of trying to rearrange some of his pitch arsenal, trying to bring some more variation to his craft. Came back here, signed a one-year deal with the White Sox, almost sort of a prove-it deal. It was one of the big acquisitions that White Sox fans were very excited about this offseason, apart from also, of course, Murakami. And it was all right. It was an all right first outing of spring training. It is still just spring training. It doesn't mean a great deal. But for what you are able to get from it, he came in, he pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 run. Got himself out of a jam there in the first inning. That was when the run was scored. It was his first major league inning in, 3 years. We can forgive him. It was able to bounce back from it fairly quickly. Yeah, decent, unspectacular, but decent outing from Anthony Kay in his first work in Major League Baseball in 3 years. I'm not sure there was really anything there to necessarily turn your nose up at, and nothing that really inspired you to think, oh my goodness, we found ourselves, you know, Nolan Ryan too. I mean, came out, played fine. Second inning that he was out there, he got 3 strikeouts. Um, yeah, very impressed with Anthony Kay today. Thought he looked really good. We'll like to see how that keeps on transitioning, how that keeps on rolling as he's able to build up a few more innings, get his sea legs back under him, and carry himself into the regular season. We will take a minute once again to talk about one of our sponsors here today, Mars Men. Came in, partnered up with the channel. They must have noticed that my hairline was starting to leak back a little bit now that I'm 30 years old, and came to my rescue. Mars Men, testosterone supplement made from all natural ingredients. Yeah, if you're starting to feel like you're starting to get up there in age, you're feeling a little bit like you're not hitting the recovery times after the gym. Maybe you like to stay in sports. You like to stay active like I do. I still like to play football, play in a semi-pro league. I still like to play some slow pitch softball here and there. Like to get out, you know, get a workout, play some floor hockey. If any of you guys are out there big into golf or pickleball, those are huge these days, and you're starting to notice a little bit less recovery time, Mars Men may be just the solution you need. A lot of men don't know this, but you can start to lose up to 1% of your testosterone every year after 30. And if you act quickly enough, you can see the promo there on the side of the screen. For a limited time, our listeners will get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. As we get into our third topic of the day here, we got some injury updates for some of the youngsters here in the Chicago White Sox spring training roster. Some of the guys that we were looking forward to witnessing this particular spring, but hadn't seen them yet due to a variation of injuries. First of all, one of the guys that was supposed to be a front runner for the center fielder position, Everson Pereira, ended up scratched from the opening day of spring training due to some tightness in his side. Will Venable did provide an update, calling him day-to-day. Said at this point it's just a little bit of soreness, just precautionary really, nothing that was really overly concerning. They just don't want to put him in a tough spot. So looks like Pereira coming along nicely, and also coming along nicely, 2 guys that we were all super excited to see for the Chicago White Sox this spring, even though we were absolutely 100% guaranteed that neither of them were going to end up on the opening day roster. Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith, 2 guys that a lot of White Sox fans expecting could still play this year on the Major League roster, maybe after the All-Star break. Just kind of depends how everything kind of, ends up playing out. But 2 of the top prospects in the White Sox system, 2 top pitchers. People were excited to see them in spring training. How far along in their development were they? Could they play this season? Is it going to be until next season before they're called up? What's the deal with those guys? And then we found out right before spring training was about to get going that neither of them would be ready to go for the beginning of spring training due to a couple of injuries. But as of right now, both of them listed as still on track. Both of them believed to be ready to go and will be out there playing come next week. So both of them have already been throwing some batting practice and some live batting practice. Both of them have rotated multiple days in the live BP. So right now the expectation from Will Venable is that both of those guys will get some playing time in spring training games starting next week. So look forward to that. Could be a couple more names to keep an eye on this spring as far as young White Sox players that we're all excited to see. And finally, last little bit of White Sox adjacent news of the day. It involves an ex-White Sox legend in Chris Sale, a guy that The trade in 2016 really changed the trajectory of the White Sox, who had been kind of a middling ball club for some time, finally embraced the full rebuild, kind of ended up culminating there around 2019. We got 3 solid years of that first rebuild, and then we had to rebuild again. And now we might finally be starting to come. We're starting to climb back up. We're getting to about here of that second rebuild. We haven't peaked yet. We're not done, but we're good. We're a good little ways up the climb of that rebuild. The foundation has been put in on this rebuilt house that we're putting in. We got to get the walls, maybe a bit of siding up. And then we got to go downtown, get to the city, turn the water back on. But once that's all done, we're good to go. But solid. We're solidly through this secondary rebuild. All this to mention, Chris Sale signed an extension with the Atlanta Braves. He will now be there through 2027 as a guy that I really enjoyed watching pitch for the Chicago White Sox. Just wanted to mention this in today's episode. Special shout out to Chris Sale. Might be finishing his career there in Atlanta, and a guy that looks like he could be ending his career with a sub-300 ERA, likely on pace for over 3,000 strikeouts. He should have a really good argument for a potential borderline Hall of Fame career when it's all said and done. And the White Sox will be a massive part of that career. So special congratulations there to Chris Sale. It's been 10 years now. 10 years since the Chris Sale trade. Wild. But that'll do it for today's episode of White Sox Daily. I've been Aaron Feely, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.